This from Andrea Grimes, Austin, Texas. My name is Andrea Grimes, and I'm here representing myself, testifying in strong opposition to HB 60. I am one of Representative Neistat's constituents here in Austin. I believe the practical effects of this bill are clear. It would significantly reduce access to safe, legal abortion in the state of Texas, and that scares me. And I'm a Texan lady, so not a lot scares me. I've done some barrel racing. I've seen big old snakes out in the hill country and bar brawls on 6th Street. But this legislation is terrifying, and I'll tell you why. The so-called Preborn Pain Act ignores sound, mainstream medical science supported by the American Medical Association and the American College of Gynecologists. The restrictions on the administration of medical abortions would prevent Texans in rural areas from safely and swiftly obtaining medication that would allow them to end their pregnancies without multiple unnecessary visits to a doctor's office, or, if this legislation passes, an ambulatory surgical center hundreds of miles from home. And I've yet to hear from a legislator who can provide any evidence whatsoever that shows abortions performed in ambulatory surgical centers are safer than those performed in licensed abortion facilities. There is a reason you're hearing from me and women who look and sound like me today. I am an affluent, white, English-speaking woman with a flexible job who lives in an urban area. I will always be able to get an abortion if I need one. But the Texans who will be disproportionately negatively affected by this legislation are not able to take time off work, arrange child care, and drive hundreds of miles to sit in a cold, sterile room, either in hopes of getting an abortion or in hopes of testifying at a Capitol Committee hearing. But in closing, what scares me most of all is the confusing and appalling fact that some of the members of this committee argued earlier today that intent is not important when drafting this legislation. If that is the case, I wonder why these bills include language about a compelling state interest in fetal pain in the first place. If we are legislating without intent, we are shooting blind. And as a Texas lady, I know one of the things we're real proud of here is our aim. I would like to respectfully ask that you vote to keep state government out of my uterus. And this from Shelly Haim from Austin, Texas. My name is Shelly Haim, and I am representing myself in opposition of HB 60. As a young teenager, my political and religious beliefs were that of my parents, which is to say, pro-life. I was raised in Texas and went through our public school sex education program. I was taught abstinence. So was a good friend of mine. At age 14, she came to me frightened. She was pregnant, and she saw abortion as her only option. I was conflicted. I urged her to consider other options. She looked at me and explained that she was going to do it no matter what. It didn't matter if she didn't have the money. It didn't matter if she didn't have the transportation. She was going to find a way. Then she confided in me she had been researching ways to terminate the pregnancy on her own. Truly awful, extremely risky ways. It was in this moment I realized her health was more important than my beliefs, and I took her to the clinic. Later that day, I confided in my mom what had happened, expecting to be grounded and severely punished. Instead, my mom shared a similar story. In 1971, her friend in college was pregnant and had a back alley abortion. My mom was the only person she told. We shared our fears on the health of our friends facing an unwanted pregnancy. Although I am strongly pro-choice now, that is not what this bill is about for me. Roe v. Wade has not been overturned. This bill is about access and women's health. I am concerned that if this bill passes, women all over this state won't have access. I worry about my potential future daughters. I worry about women of low economic means taking severe health risks to exercise their right to choose. I think of my 14-year-old friend crumpled in a corner, scared and willing to take matters into her own hands, even if it meant risking her life. Please don't take a step back. Please don't close these doors. Please don't put your personal beliefs before the health of Texas women. Please vote no on HB 60. This from Ora Houston, Austin, Texas. My name is Ora Houston. I am speaking against HB 16 and HB 60 on behalf of myself and my daughter, who decided at 30 that she did not want children. Her choice, her right. I am against these bills on constitutional and moral grounds. I am an active, faithful Christian in the Episcopal tradition. Let's be clear. The reason we are having this hearing tonight is because elected officials in power, primarily males, are attempting to control the reproductive rights of every female in Texas through legislation based on their religious dogma and preferences. In my reading of the Constitution, the state of Texas is forbidden to legislate based on religious beliefs. In front of us tonight are two such pieces of legislation. I am against these bills on moral grounds. As a child of God, it is my belief that every decision I make about my body, including reproductive choices, is between me and God, not me and politicians, regardless of their faith traditions. Historically, women with limited resources, unlike women of privilege, had one choice: unregulated, unsterile, backroom operations. In the years since Roe v. Wade, all females have had years of healthy and safe options, including procedures if needed. To seek to limit the rights of females by passing bills which are more limiting, invasive, complicated, complex, and costly is morally reprehensible. What is even more outrageous is that the same legislators who draft and pass these bills also draft and pass bills which reduce state funding for health care, education, mental health services, etc., for the very same babies they were so concerned about in the womb. It appears to me that legislators in power have extreme feelings for the unborn, little if any for children who are living and breathing outside of their mother's womb. The great thing about choice is that females who want to carry their babies to term have that choice and right. And those who don't also have that choice and right. What gives the state of Texas, using thinly veiled language, the right to superimpose their narrow religious beliefs on every female in Texas? Entitlement and power. And this from Jennifer Jagielka from Austin, Texas. First, I would like to thank the chair and the committee for allowing me to testify. My name is Jennifer Jagielka, and I am a constituent of Representative Paul Workman. I'm here today to voice my opposition to the anti-abortion bills HB 16 and HB 60. I realize that you may have already decided how you will vote on these bills. Nevertheless, I respectfully ask that you give me your attention and consider these points. First, if you enact these bills, you alienate a growing number of your constituents, including me. I am a registered voter who participates in every election, and I will vote against any candidate who is in favor of restricting women's access to abortion. These anti-abortion bills are being presented in the guise of protecting women's health. This is insulting to women's intelligence. Women realize that these bills will not protect their health. They will only reduce their access to abortion providers and limit their ability to make their own medical and family planning decisions. Women and their like-minded partners will continue to be an increasing part of your constituency. Do you really want to alienate them? Second, if you enact these anti-choice bills, you risk reducing the talent pool for Texas jobs. Women are a greater portion of the professional job candidates than ever before, and they now outnumber males in college enrollment. Let me ask you, what young, strong-minded, independent woman with multiple lucrative job opportunities would want to move to or remain in a state where she has little or no ability to make decisions about her own body and about family planning? How will this affect Texas' ability to create and fill jobs? As you know, job creation has a point of pride for the governor and his supporters. Third, in order to keep its citizens healthy and productive and to attract more industry, Texas needs to have an adequate number of healthcare providers. Increasingly, these providers are female. Women now make up nearly half of medical students, up from less than 25% in the 1970s. Females are also the majority of members in the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. What female physician with a choice would want to practice in a state where the law severely limits her clinical judgment and her ability to do what she believes is right for her individual patients? How will this affect Texas' ability to attract and maintain an adequate number of medical providers for its population? Before you vote on this anti-abortion bill, I urge you to think carefully about its potential impact on Texas, not just now, but in the future. You have been warned. If you enact these harmful anti-abortion bills, be prepared for a mass exodus of talent from Texas. Thank you for your time.